Are you streaming? Oh, the broadcast
we're
is live.
streaming. We're streaming.
Okay.
Good.
Hi, everybody. So Greg did tell me a clue that I'm allowed to say, but I'm only allowed to tell you three. So if I put it in the chat, everyone can see your reactions, but I can't tell you. I can't tell everybody.
You could send it in that email we got going. It'd be funny to do it. That would be great. So, thanks everybody for making it. Sorry we're going at it again. We had a interesting turn with tech. Emily is our tech's I
am a curse.
There's something going on. There's something
going on. I feel awful about it. I didn't know that I had this kind of power.
You don't know your own power, yeah. Your own tech strength.
It's are there.
The Livewire.
But we're happy to have you. We're happy that you're here. And, and everybody for jumping on. Scott Bloom for sticking with us on it. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it looks like Connection to the World is there, too.
The YouTube chat, too.
So is it the same one that we had open in YouTube, or is it something different now?
There's a whole new YouTube.
Cool.
A new tube of you.
No, it's a whole new YouTube link, but it's still our YouTube. And we're live. So how are you doing?
Okay. Hi.
So, Emily, what's been going on? How has things at Get Valiant remote headquarters been? Or Valiant, not we're Get Valiant.
Yeah, it's we try to get Valiant, No one's gotten a haircut in a very long time, which is why I will not stop touching my hair throughout this entire stream because I feel like I have 8 pounds of it on my head. No, it's been good. I mean, I think everyone's adapting really well. We're lucky that sort of comics are set up in a way where, in a large part, you can work remotely, because the writers and the artists and the letters and the colorists are already working remotely. At least for me, pretty much my entire job is digital, so I can do that from anywhere. And and so a lot of the communication was already set up to be able to be done remotely, even though it's rough to not see everybody every day, and it's hard to not be able to actually sort of have conversations face to face and talk things through because we're really collaborative and kind of every department gets a say in a lot of things. So it's hard to not be with everybody, but the functions are fine. I think we're luckier than a lot of businesses that kind of require that person-to-person contact. Yeah. So, but everyone's holding on.
Yeah, so comics does do that. Can you say, are the pencilers and artists and writers, are they back up and going right now?
We've got some stuff back up and running. Yeah. Obviously, we're being careful and making sure that we're not jumping the gun in terms of starting up everything super quickly because, as we've seen so far, the situation has been really volatile and there's been lots of surprises, unfortunately, about, when things are opening. And for example, New York just keeps pushing the date back for when we're reopening. So, but we are starting to get working on a lot of stuff again. And we've had people who've just been raring to go. Some people who've just been continuing to do things because they are too excited to not do them and just waiting for the book to come back. But things are starting up again. We're getting things going. Yeah, we have Dr. Tomorrow #3 is coming out next month.
That's what I was just going to say. That's what I was just going to say. We got to see a page from Dr. Tomorrow #3.
Yeah. AIPT has 5 pages. Today there's an exclusive. I only saw one. Oh, that was on our Facebook. Yeah, if you click there should be a. Did I forget the link? There should be a link.
Click things. What's going on here?
You have to work, man.
They can't do it all for you.
This is not a one-way street. You got to put in your effort too.
You got to just give it all to me. Just feed it directly into my brain. I need it.
I will, before the chat is over, I will drop the link in the chat, in the YouTube chat, or if Greg wants to do it, Greg, if you're there, you can put the AIPT link. But yeah, it's 5 pages of the new issue of Dr. Tomorrow. There is a really fun Easter egg joke in there from classic Valiant that I really enjoy a lot. Alejandro, who writes Dark Tomorrow, used to edit at Valiant, so he's got this like deep level of knowledge that he likes to put in there every so often, which is really great. Yes, Capshaw with a giant gun. Yeah, and we're still, there's still things we haven't put out yet, but we're starting to plan lots more things coming back, and there are things that you're already working ahead, so it's just stuff that we just didn't know whether we could print and get into people's hands, and now we're just starting to do that again.
I think we're all ready to have things printed and in our hands as soon as possible.
I would love that. Yeah.
I'm so ready to start going back to comic book shops.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start doing reviews again.
You're telling me. Yeah. I mean, like the Hero of the Week stuff has been really, really fun. And it's let me like get back into the archives and find old things that I'm falling in love with again. But yeah, I miss telling you guys about new stuff too.
So here's a question for you. Has there been any anything that from Hero of the Week, like you said, digging back into the archives, has there been anything that surprised you, that jumped out at you more now that you're going back through things than it did the first time around? Is there anything in particular that you've, really noticed, like, wow, this didn't hit me the same the first time around, but now I'm, getting super into it?
That's such a good question. Well, I guess there's a couple things. So one thing is we've been doing these free comics every day. Scott. We've been doing these free PDF downloads every day, and the way that we do them with the Bitly links, I can see how many people click on them. And obviously that's some current fans and some new people, and it's been really, really interesting to see which things get clicked on the most. And it's not always the things that I think people are going to download the most. Like we had a big spike in downloads when we put out the Secret Weapons Nikki one shot, which I think is great, but it wasn't, I didn't necessarily expect that to be one of like the top downloads, but so that was really cool to see like the love that people have for certain characters that I didn't necessarily expect to have the biggest fan followings. And just like, I guess also just seeing the love for certain characters from the fans and the excitement of talking about certain characters again was really, really, just been really fun, especially like, I mean, obviously Faith always gets a lot of love, but the sort of genuine excitement to talk about her was just so cool to see.
Oh,
yeah, even though, there hasn't been a book with her for a little while, but, you never know.
Yeah.
But Jody House is working on a new one? Is that what you're saying right now?
I can't, what? Huh?
The last time you were on, we were talking about her group. We were talking about the Harbinger. And we were talking about different things with Pete and the Pete story. And I got a little vibe that there was something that you really wanted to get off your chest when we were having that. And what I got working with that Harbinger that's coming out?
I couldn't even begin to know what you're talking about.
Sure.
No idea.
But yeah, we're excited for the Harbinger team and hopefully have Faith back soon there.
Here's what I will say. The way that editorial and certain writers are thinking right now about certain characters is both rooted in the past and also genuinely exciting to me about where they're taking them, both character-wise, and also honestly a big thing that I'm really excited about is the aesthetics, like the visual tone of certain things is really, really unique and interesting and exciting. Things you wouldn't necessarily expect, and I'm very, very excited for them.
One of the messages that we've gotten consistently is that there's that want to build on the past but move in a new direction instead of just trying to recreate what's worked in the past, and that has me excited because as much as I would love to see somebody else do what Dicer does, I don't know that anybody else can do what Dicer does, so somebody else just has to do what they can do as well as he did what he could do.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think that's the thing about Josh and like what he did, and you know what, that is actually something that's really jumped out at me is how meaningful people find Josh's work and Toyo's work and the stuff with Toyo, especially, and how, as someone who's read all of it and had to be really deep in it, like obviously I know that Toyo is a really complex character and part of the world, but to see how well Josh expressed that to the audience when villains can often be kind of seen as really one note that was really exciting to see how deeply he's affected so many people.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's only one Josh.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I think we're at a point with a lot of the books now where there are great runs of each character that Valiant's done, and I sometimes think that it's a shame that we as fans get so attached to like a certain run, like Josh's Harbinger run, or like for me, I really like what Christos Gage did on NGK. To me, that's the best thing that has been done with the character. I think there's a lot of books like that, whereas we as fans, we aren't going to get Josh Dicehart's Harbinger again from the next writer. We're not going to get Christos Gage's Ninja K from the next writer of Ninjak. And I think that sometimes that's a bit of a disappointment when you see how people react to it, where they're like, oh, Valiant's going in a different way. They're not doing the exact same thing that someone else did before, and it's a bit of a bummer, I just wish people didn't have to get so attached. You can still appreciate everything that's happened before, but you can still enjoy something different from someone else.
No, I think that's absolutely true. And as somebody who has characters I've loved since childhood and things about them that I am, upset when they change, like I do get the feeling. Like there's my Darth Revan Star Wars stuff right there. Like when they canceled the old EU, I was devastated. Like I was emotionally wrecked when they said that wasn't canon anymore. But without that, we wouldn't have gotten certain things that I have now that I also really love. And I think the thing that for me as somebody who definitely understands that feeling is that those classic things that you love and those things that are so iconic, they don't go anywhere. They're still there. And actually, you saying that you like the Christos Gage thing is a really great example because he wasn't the first Ninja K writer. If people had stuck too closely to the Matt Kint Ninjak, we never would have gotten Christos' work. And I think that often newer work, and especially some of the stuff that's happening now with people who've, been in the world of Valiant for a while and are now kind of coming to their own, and people, new writers and artists who've been reading Valiant, they have their own perspectives and they are informed by what came before. So they're able to take those things and build on them while still, not being too intimidating for new readers. So fingers crossed, but I'm really excited for what's coming up.
Yeah. I mean, if Valiant had existed for like, say, 30 years continuously, I feel like it wouldn't be an issue because so many people would have been like, you know what? The way the book was in like 2007 was just garbage. So like now it's like great, Maybe enough people just didn't read those Acclaim years because some of that stuff was just so atrocious. That, if you think you've ever read Bad Harbinger, that one shot that came out in the Acclaim years is just about the worst thing ever.
I mean, it's kind of incredible though. Like, I am a more recent convert to Valiant. I've only been working here for a couple of years, and I wasn't a big comic reader when I was younger. Seeing how closely people keep certain things to themselves and how much they want to protect them, like you don't get that much except with really, really big fandoms. Like there are, there's the really intense Star Wars fans and the Harry Potter fans, and for Valiant, which is, this little scrappy company, to have fans who are this dedicated for this long and care this much about the integrity of the characters, like that's amazing. That is so cool that the companies put out work that people feel that strongly about.
Yeah, it is definitely a passionate fan base. And, speaking of characters that we really love and something news came out, Exo Manowar. So we had Exo Manowar number 1, Exo Manowar number 2. The majority of the show really enjoyed it. So I'm glad that people enjoy it. And it's just around the corner. And is there something where are you guys going to re-release books? What are you going to do to get us back excited? Because we haven't had number 2. We had number 1 3 months ago. Is there something that's going to happen?
It's trust me, we are having these conversations like every single day. We're also because look, I know Exo Manowar was a bit polarizing, and I am honestly kind of excited about that because that means it actually did something, like I think that's really cool. But it actually, like, interesting art is polarizing, so I was excited about that. So yeah, like Exo, the timing was deeply unfortunate for like having a nice continuous run. So we were having these conversations a lot, both for the fans and also a big priority right now is still the comic book stores and what they need and what they want. So part of the reason, you haven't seen a ton from us in the past like month or two is because the comic book stores are still getting their feet under them. And that's what they are asking for, is to not move too quickly and not put out a big issue that would get walk-ins because they're not getting walk-ins. So some of those questions are still in flux, but we should hopefully have some more information for you guys pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's there's so many like considerations and different people's needs to juggle, so they're very complicated conversations.
I imagine logistics are tough to get around.
Yeah, and every state is so different too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it. Is like once some states are almost entirely open, and we've got stores that have walk-ins coming in and people being careful but still walking around the stores. We've got some that can't leave their houses still, like me.
Yeah, we're just starting to open up here in Minnesota next week.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're closed out here still. So, and so that's it. It's a different realm of how things are being pushed out. And has there been talk of Valiant changing that at all? Of distribution model, or is it still going to go with Diamond, or are you guys?
So that would be more of like honestly like a sales team question than a me question. Just because pretty much all of my stuff is digital. I think that Valiant is dedicated to the health of like the industry overall. So whatever's going to be best for that, I think, is probably what we're gonna go with. But Diamond's been a really great partner to us for a long time, and so I wouldn't want to say that that's like a a major consideration right now, because they have been a really good partner to us. But that's like a sales. That's a whole nother realm of conversation right now. I'm just trying to get books back out there.
There's a Fred Pierce question, I'm sure, with him being a publisher.
You know what? Text Fred.
Yep.
Just text him.
I'll give you his number. It's fine.
Let's text him. Let's see what it's got. But it is, and especially, I mean, there's this element of distribution, but then there's also the element of marketing, right? Of not knowing when things are going to come out. So your job has got to be definitely hard, but also very easy, because there's some really exciting books that are sitting there waiting for us, like the conclusion of Quantum and Woody, but also new ones like The Final Witness and Savage, which are ones that are just around the corner.
Shadow Man.
I'm so excited for both of those.
Shadow Man.
I honestly my biggest like nerd bummer right now is that I can't that we can't put Shadow Man in your hands quite yet, because it's so good.
I mean, you could. Just we're all friends here.
I feel like we're not actually streaming right now, and this is just some kind of trap to get me to tell you things.
We want all the secrets all the time. That's our job.
I know, and I want to give them to you. That's all I want in the world. When review copies happen, review copies.
Yes,
I'll do my best.
100%.
But one thing that we've been really getting excited about, I think internally, and that the stores are excited about, is that Valiant's doing more kind of like tonally different stuff, more like genre, wider genres. Like Final Witness is very much noir. Heather, the editor on that, she's like a big true crime and noir fan, so she's got a lot of like real life inspirations that she brought in when she was working the pitch with the writer. And Colin, of course.
Ray Fox. That's Ray Fox. I was trying to get,
I
was trying to get somebody else, Harbinger or something.
No, honestly, what you're talking about right now is something that I think that Valiant has done really, really well in the past, and I'm really excited to see a push in that direction, because when you're putting out, what is it, 6 books a month, 7 books a month, something, along those lines, it's one thing to put out, of those 6 or 7 books a month, 5 books that are geared toward the exact same audience, whereas on the other hand, you can put out books geared toward 6 or 7 completely different audiences, and that to me is really exciting. Like, I love when faith books come out because I know that they're not for me, whereas if that makes any sense, like I don't,
Yeah, I get that.
I don't feel like
But
I am
it
the
can
guy
be for
that
you, though. I mean, like, even if it's
I
not-
still love those books,
But
I
they
still
are
love those
for
books.
they are for Jay Kingman.
Yes,
They are for him.
100%.
Like, not there's lots of stuff that I enjoy that I know isn't, how do I put this, written or created with someone like me in mind, and I can
Yeah.
still enjoy it. But there are things that are pitched towards my interest in my demo and my particular set of genres that I like. There are things that are pitched towards that I'm like, oh, they wrote this for me. So like, stop beeping, phone. So yeah, like I, as someone who came into comics a little later, someone who's been like a girl in nerddom for a long time, like Faith feels like it's very much written for me, and that doesn't mean to say it's not written for someone who doesn't look or sound or think like me, but there are Valiant books that I love that aren't necessarily written with my particular genre tastes in mind. Like, I love Bloodshot. Bloodshot isn't written for me.
It's written
But
for me, and I love
there
it.
we go. See, there we are.
But
I have art right behind
me.
me by Corinne Howell that's like a death goddess that always makes me think of Dr. Mirage too.
I think that's one of the great things about Valiant, though, because I mean, I like the entire line. Most, I would say like 90 some odd % of the time, I like every book that comes out. So even though I know that as a reader, white male, like not everything needs to be, put toward me. I can like everything that comes out, and I think that's really great that the company does choose to do a lot of books that kind of do have a different focus of who they're trying to reach, or at least to try to make it a little bit more broad of a spectrum that they're trying to bring readers into.
Well, it's tough, right? Because like we don't, we've done one movie now, but for a long time, Marvel was really the only movie game, and so they were able to reach a lot of different audiences and bring people to the comics via much more accessible, wider demographic properties, and sort of funnel people towards the stuff that they would love. But I feel like, smaller companies, indie comics, they do need to like reach out to new audiences a little more and pull them in and say, no, you're welcome here too. Especially in comics where it's not always, depending on where you live, like the most accessible thing. There isn't a comic book store in every town like there's, a bookstore in most towns. So making sure that people are aware of what's out there for them too, can be a real challenge. But I hope that we do that at least somewhat. Yeah.
Punk Mama.
Yeah.
There is a visual component, I think, to it too. Like different aesthetics, like different tones, different color schemes, like that jump out to different eyeballs. I think that stuff actually all really, really makes a difference, at least for marketing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say kudos to you. I think that you guys do a great job on social media of being, active and engaged with people. I've seen retweets of new people getting into Valiant, and I think that if I started reading a brand new Marvel book and I tweeted about how much I am really enjoying this new Marvel book that I just found, I don't think that the official Marvel Twitter is going to be going out of their way to like, hey, this guy really likes our book. Whereas, there's that level of engagement. And I think that that's something that I really loved about Valiant when I first got into the company. And I'm seeing a lot of that here recently, and that's really exciting. And yeah, pat on your back.
It's not just me. Clearly, it's not just me, but
you're right. But you are a part of it as well, and we definitely want to say thank you for your part in that.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, and I mean, I gotta give a shout out to the other two people in the marketing department. Matthew and Greg especially is doing a ton of just personal engagement with the Valiant audience, which I think is really, really cool. My personal Twitter is complete garbage nonsense, and I will not share it with you all because you wouldn't be interested. It's all garbage. It's pictures of makeup that I've done and Chinese actors I like. So
Nice.
it's not related to Valiant at all.
Very niche.
But they've been deeply. But it's really such a community, and I mean, there's so many people who started in Valiant fandom and then became part of the company, or were part of the company and now are just hanging out in the fandom and being happy there. So like it's a very intermixed group, which is very cool, and it's easy to be excited when you guys are so excited. Yeah, especially now, like we got some new people from Dr. Tomorrow and stuff. Like that's been really exciting.
Yeah, seeing people on the company or in the company that are on both sides of that line, that's what I think makes it more exciting as a fan. Because it's one thing to say, like, you know, when we talk to Greg, for example, or when we talk to you, you know, we're not just getting someone who's pitching the company line, you know, we're getting somebody who's also passionate about what they're doing and cares about the same thing that we care about, you know, and actually puts that heart into it. I don't know. That makes a big difference.
I think that's true, and it is funny. Like I think we all work really well together in the office, but that passion does sometimes mean that we argue about minutia in the books, or like, no, like I didn't like the way this panel was done, or it should have been done this way, or what if this cover was the A cover and this cover was the B cover, and it's like, okay, we all want the same thing. These are really, really tiny arguments. Why is this so important? And it's like, because it's comics, like the minutia matters. But if you think that fans get in arguments about the book, trust me, we do too.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know, because we want to know that you guys care about it. You know, that's something that we really want to see, and we want to feel. You know, that's why people who have worked at the company in the past, for example, really created such loyalty in the fan base, was because we could tell their level of passion for the books, and seeing that in people who are at the company now makes it that much easier to get excited. And we're all just waiting for new books to come out.
I know, me too. And there's like, before this happened, we were setting up, you know, and all the, like, those things are still in the works, but you know, we had this real momentum going, and we're gonna build it back up. But yeah, it's you know, I've been doing these little like landing pages for different books, like sort of with little trailers and ways to sign up for the newsletter and that kind of thing. And I had like, you know, 4 that I was working on that I've had to pause, just because, you know, those aren't here at the moment. They will be, but they're not here at the moment. Oh, there we go. My screen was going yellow. I'm not yellow anymore. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like, this is gonna sound so nerdy, but I just want to go back to the office.
Yeah.
I miss everybody. I miss my weird nerds that I work with.
Yeah.
Not you, Greg.
Missing Emerald City Comic-Con, seeing you guys there. We were excited for it. That got canceled.
I'm so sad.
So we need our comic fixed. We need our people, but we need everybody alive and healthy.
Cons are going to be so tough.
Yeah.
And I love going to cons. Like, that's one of my favorite parts of my job, is going to 7, 8, 10 cons a year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's been rough too, because I don't get to see you guys, and I don't get to like nerd out with the people I've gotten to know at the other companies who I only get to see at cons.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm being a bummer. Oh no.
So we need you to come up with a good idea to get people some gold books.
Okay. Well, I don't have any at my house, so I think what we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to start drawing on Post-its, and I'm just gonna have to send you guys stuff on Post-its now.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds amazing. Original art is always something that everybody wants. There's a one-time
from me.
From anybody. Why we
have some standards.
That was it you that drew, and then was it Brad or whatever? Vincent,
yeah. Yeah. That's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. My terrible lumpy bloodshot that he made into a Hama bead art is
Yes.
it's it is now my personal Twitter background. Like it's my header on my Twitter because I'm obsessed with it. I'm so deeply honored that someone would take my garbage and make it into a thing.
In one of my boxes here, I have a remarked Emily
you do?
Livewire. I should just go through it and try to find it, but I have a remarked Livewire original. It's pretty amazing.
Why do you guys let me do this?
Yeah, I will post that. I will find that and I will post that, guys, and you can see this.
Why
this
am I
awesome
so
work.
deeply indulged by? Why did you let this happen?
We're all nerds
I love
here.
you guys. Yeah.
And then speaking of things to come, and hopefully that they come, and I have an image on my screen, which was our original slides that were going to show, but since we had to change it up, I'm looking at Valiant 2020 hashtags, one with a big blue bird, but another one with a hand and a sword that gets me excited, and it looks like a little ninjak, and hopefully, I'm going to crazy theory it, Adam Gorin with Punk Mambo in this series. Oh, that would be amazing.
Interesting.
Whoa.
Okay, so that would be interesting. I have something that I am allowed to tell you guys that they can't see or know about, but I'm going to tell you. It's going to blow up that theory a little bit, but just if you can see the StreamYard chat, just enjoy.
All right.
Do you see it? That's your clue.
Where do we see this?
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, when we know real things, we will definitely pass them along. But
and as soon as I can tell you, I swear, as soon as I can say anything, I will say things.
No, but we definitely appreciate. Okay, so here's a question that I have, because we've fallen a little bit behind. I just want to at least touch base on it. We had last week the hero of the week, villain of the week was Toyo Harada. Do you have a favorite Toyo story? That's a tough question.
Toyo Harada is my husband, and I love him. He's a perfect man, and I will accept no criticism of him. He's wonderful. He's a provider. Love that guy.
It's true. He's going for Star Trek Utopia. I love Star Trek.
He's doing his best.
It's true.
I think it has to be Life and Death, honestly. I think that's there's something about. Okay, my favorite things in stories are people who think they're in the right, but are doing awful things in the name of right. Cosmic horror, people with really long and complicated histories with each other, and badass ladies. And it kind of has all of those things. Plus this sort of like weirdly intense sadness for a book from a superhero company that I appreciate, because if I can have action and also get real sad, like, great.
Yeah, actual emotions, right? Yeah. Like an emotional range, because that book has a lot of emotional range to it.
Yeah, it feels Shakespearean almost, that book. Just like the level of sort of tension and drama and interpersonal conflict. And it's for a book that's so wide, that it encompasses multiple dimensions and entire worlds and whole lifetimes. It feels very small because it's really about this little family. It's like there's a bit of a King Lear vibe to it sometimes.
Sure. I'll take your word
English
for it.
Major.
No, I think that's a phenomenal book, and it's really hard not to choose that one as a favorite Toyo story.
But you guys have others?
I was gonna go with the one where Toyo tries to recruit Divinity, and Divinity does this like time dilation thing with him. That
Broken
whole
Angels.
The trade is Broken Angels. That for me, like, that was Toyo getting bested at his own game, and that, like, you don't really see that happen, and I don't know that anybody could do it like Divinity did.
And not to just keep talking about Josh and how amazing he is, but those stories where like the smartest person in the room gets bested only work if you earn them. And I feel like he really, really earned that moment too with he established Toyo so intensely as the alpha creature of the world. And so then when you find somebody who can top that, it actually means something, which was really exciting.
Yeah.
And I love Divinity. Anytime Divinity hangs out, I'm happy.
Yes. That's something that we need more of is Divinity. Somebody's got to write this down. We've got so many great ideas. We need more Divinity.
No, that's interesting you say that.
Yeah? Cool.
I have no...
Yep. I would love to see it. What about the other guys? What are your favorite Toyo stories?
You know what? I went with Bloodshot. I went with Harbinger Zero, the issue where we find out a little bit more about Toyo as a kid while he's walking Darpan through. I'm trying to think who it is that he's trying to get Darpan to be in front of. But I thought it was a really interesting issue because you do get to see a little bit of the horror of like what Darpan is capable of. And I love it. Like there's a guy cutting his eyes out, like there's some really like grisly stuff in the background with him. If Darpan #1 villain of the week or character of the week, that same issue would be like my favorite Darpan issue. But I just love that you see the moment that Harada becomes activated. He's looking for his father, and everybody around him is just trying to survive after the bomb hit Hiroshima. And just kind of like the things that kind of go on when you're a kid with amazing powers and abilities, but you also have to see like the kind of like the unfortunate side of what humanity is put through in that kind of moment. There's people who are trying to profit off of others wanting food, or people who just want to have all of the stuff, and Harada as a child just makes them explode.
Don't make me feel bad for him.
He does have a rough origin. It doesn't mean
he's got it rough.
There's a lot of people that have rough origins in comics who end up being terrible. And I think you can look at like a lot of the 1960s Marvel creations where like sometimes the villain, you're like, oh man, what an awful story of like why he's that, but then he still wants to kill a bunch of people. So
I'm always sympathetic to villains in media. It's definitely an issue. I'm always the one rooting for like the Lokis and the Hannibal Lecters. I'm always like, no, but they just had a rough time. Someone needs to give them a hug.
I love how you just lumped Loki and Hannibal Lecter into the same category. They
both murdered a bunch of people. I'm sure Loki's been a cannibal at one point or another. Come on.
It's true.
But I'm at complete agreement with Emily. I like the kind of, just where he's at in some people's eyes, how he's the villain, in some people's eyes, he's the hero. There's really cool things about Toyo that I really like. I agree with Josh. I love the just kind of beginning of Harbinger, because that's really where Josh's story starts, right? And Toyo's like a linchpin to the whole Harbinger story. And it was just this full out story of where it's to go. And this basically the leader of Psyots. And when you get to Harbinger, the death of Harbinger in Book of Death, it was just that leader of Psyots and what happened with Pete taking over for Toyo and the Harbinger Foundation. But I loved Imperium. And then I mean, Life and Death, Toyorado and Imperium are just, to me, they flush into one. And it's just basically his long, full out story. I do like the first arc of Imperium a lot, when he's just gathering, basically getting the band back, getting the band together.
Getting the scariest band of all time back together.
So I dig it. And then, how do you not like a book with Sunlight on Snow, right? SOS is an amazing character, whatever, AI that's just, got more heart than any of us and humanity than any of us. And there's just something to be said about a thing that has that over anything. So
when I went back and reread some of the Imperium stuff, because Toyo was the villain of the week or whatever, hero of the week, I really like SOS a lot. Like, I don't think I appreciated him enough my first time through those books. And that's the great thing about having this time. That's one of the nice things. I mean, the silver lining, I guess, in having that time to go back through some of the old catalog when we're not getting the new books right now, is that we get to see, we get to rediscover things that maybe we didn't notice on the first time around, or
Yeah.
get a new appreciation for things that we've already gotten to experience by experiencing them again.
By the way, that's me in 2016, that picture. So enjoy that little blast from the
gotta love it.
so different. Jeez. Ooh, who is that?
Headshots.
Why was her hair a natural color?
Was that
yeah,
the picture that you carried around with you in stacks?
No. Oh God. No. Look. At some point, I will show you guys my old headshot. It is an experience. I still have like a stack somewhere. Ugh. Yeah, that has been really nice too, to see also for the fans, like, which books really have stuck with them in a big way. Like, the individual issues that people get excited that we talk about, or even if a character doesn't win Hero of the Week, like, there's, there'll be one or two people who are really rooting for them and fighting for them and love them so much. And that's really exciting to see, that there's like individual little pockets of love for these not necessarily smaller characters, but sort of less known. So that's been really fun too. But and the whole Toyo team, like, each one of them, I think is could have a book in their own right. Like, I'd read a Lord Vine book.
Yes. Oh my God, I would read that book. I would read that book. That book would be
absolute
amazing.
Carnage at all times. It would be disgusting.
That we got to get Cullen Bunn on that. Somebody call him up.
I'm gonna call Lisa and Heather after this and be like, okay, here's the kid.
We got a list of new books that need to be worked on right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some notes after this call and be like, all right, guys, I know we have like all of these plans and all of these books through like 2021 that we know that we want to do, but listen,
scrap
Clive Barker, like Hellraiser-esque Lord Vine book, like old school nasty 80s horror. Let's go.
Oh my God, that would be an amazing book.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of old horror movies lately.
Yeah, I just rewatched all the Alien movies recently, and imagine if you made an Alien movie, but all from the perspective of the xenomorphs, not the people that the xenomorphs are killing. That would be the Lord Vine book. Yeah. That would be amazing.
I'm into it. I love this. This is a good workshop. I'm liking this.
Yes.
Valiant owns all these ideas, by the way. TM.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
I like that Sean Hayes was like, and all these ideas would be great in my anthology book.
Right? and I think to add to that is one that we've all been not asking for is Bad Eggs.
Bad Eggs.
Careful, you're going to summon Elliot Rahal out of the ground somehow. He's just going to appear in this chat. Do you know how badly he wants to do that?
It's going to be amazing. Do it. Come on.
So for when I'm doing like the free PDFs every day, we have a big archive, like an online archive that I can go into and like pull PDFs. And there's a classics folder, so it has everything from the classics era in PDF and all the like acclaimed stuff. And going through when I'm scrolling down to like Bloodshot, I always see Bad Eggs, and I always think, what if I did? What if?
What if though?
What if I just gave you Bad Eggs?
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I need to hop off, so I'll let you guys continue.
Oh, it's too bad.
It's okay.
Awesome.
All right, bye.
Okay, now we can talk about him.
Okay, so here's the problem with Josh. No.
Okay, so like I've been dying to talk about it. Yeah. I'm sorry that I can't tell you guys too much like new info. I will see when we've got something new to say. I will maybe I can slip you guys a little preview. I'll do my best. Greg, still there?
Yeah.
They've been so cool. Come on.
Tell us a little bit about what you think of that. There's another duo. They had comic book of duo of the week, pretty much heroes of the week, Archer and Armstrong, and we got to see David talk a little bit about them. Very cagey in his little talk.
We all have eyes on us at all times. You know, the Marvel actors always joke about how there's like a red dot on their foreheads at all times when they're on interviews, and I just like a little bit of that. No, but yeah, David's developing a new Archer and Armstrong project that is going to be awesome. David's been with the company for several years. He moved up from intern to assistant editor to associate editor. So he's like a complete sponge. He's been learning so much. He's got his own really cool ideas. He's really young too. Like he's moved up really quickly. So I'm super, super excited just because I know and love David a lot. Like I'm very just excited to see his take on it. Like his vibe, because he's so fresh and he's so full of energy, and like the books that he's working on are so full of energy. Like Savage, he's working on a lot as well. And there's God, I always think of David as David's really into like pop punk music, so I always think of him as like a pop punk guy. So there's this like bright, fun, like aggressive energy to the stuff that he makes, and I feel like he's going to bring a lot of that to my favorite boy and his drunk friend. So I'm very, very excited to see what David does with Archer and Armstrong. Yeah, I think
is that the kind of tone that we can expect? Is that kind of pop
I
punk?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know
Fair.
anything about the tone that he's going for. I just know that that's like an energy and an intelligence that he brings, is this really cool, bright, young, fun energy. He can also go pretty dark though, with the stuff that he's working on. So I just know that David is a really unique creative in mind. So I'm excited to see like how he's going to push it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
David, I'm going to make you watch this because I'm really nice to you in
this. I think that we're all excited to see it. Obviously we want to know when it's the right time. We want to know all the details, we definitely want to know when that, like I said, when it's the right time and we get those announcements. I think we're all going to be really excited. I was glad when they got Hero of the Week and then getting a little bit of that teaser at the end.
That was exciting for us to be able to do too, because that, like internally, obviously we're very excited for some of these books to go forward and be public. And so being able to talk about it is a really big step on that. I think sometimes when you're not working in publishing, it's hard to, like, I knew before I was working in publishing, I didn't really understand how big of a step it is to just confirm that something's happening. Mm-hmm. That requires so many months of conversations and planning and making sure that, like, the team is there and the budget is there and the schedule is there. There's so much that goes into even just saying yes publicly, that it kind of blows my mind sometimes. So there's things that that we definitely already want to talk about, but some of those I's haven't been dotted and T's haven't been crossed, and it's such a production to be public about stuff when you're putting out multiple things a year, because everything interlocks, with the publishing schedule. It's all so dependent on each other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully something that I think that we had asked, I don't even remember who we asked about getting events again. So hopefully the stories are interlocking as well.
We asked that to Robert a while back, and it takes build up, right? So you got to have it set up from a point. So that's where good editing comes into play, and having some good stories, hopefully to come have some dark stories down the way.
I legit have no poker face. So I'm looking around for like something to cover my, like, where's my mask for going outside? I can't put it on. I have no poker face. I can't. Yeah. I'm like,
no, you're not telling us anything, and that's fine.
No, but but like you're asking good questions. You're asking very cool, exciting questions that make me excited to tell you things later.
Well, what are some really good books that we should be definitely looking at?
How do I put this? We definitely. Hold on, I'm phrasing something. Give me a second. Talk amongst yourself. We haven't been unintentional with certain things about Hero of the Week.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's definitely, it's not just random heroes in random contests.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that we're going to get huge parties and paintball competitions and
Poker
Karaoke
tournament.
sessions.
That's it.
poker
Well, I mean,
tournaments.
I will say one thing that we know is coming out that I'm super super excited about still is the Faith Young adult novel.
Yeah.
And that's getting some really cool attention from that industry too, and that side of the publishing line. And like book people are excited about that. So that's been really really cool to see too, and hopefully that's going to put Faith into a whole new level of attention. So I'm very very
Yeah.
excited for you guys to be able to see that soon.
Yep.
A D&D session. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah, no,
all
it's
I
super
want.
cool that they're doing that you guys are doing the faith book. Did I read somewhere that there are going to be multiple faith books?
YA is definitely something that's getting attention. I don't know what the plan is specifically character-wise, but I know that there is definitely interest in that market and not just stopping with one book.
Sure. I think it's cool branching out into novels. As much as it wasn't for me, like we were kind of talking about before, I think it would be cool to see more things like Valiant High also. I really like another thing that I really love is Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. When that comic came out, it was so cool to get like this one time where we didn't have to worry about continuity, we didn't have to worry about all this other stuff. There was no baggage, and we got to just see these characters interacting in a standalone story, kind of an Elseworlds thing. Yeah. And I think that opens up, a lot of possibilities that, maybe could be taken advantage of. These are all great ideas.
Like one shots and miniseries are really exciting. And speaking just for the industry in general, this is becoming more understood, but you might have seen an article a while back about in the New York Times, I think, about Raina Telgemeier. Who is a huge name in middle grade graphic novels. So it's the industry's catching up to the fact a little. They're taking their time, but the comics industry is catching up to the fact that YA middle grade are hungry for comics. Like those markets are growing very very quickly. When I talk to stores, like I had one store tell me that making comics for kids was quote printing money. The Raina Telgemeier is like a New York Times bestseller. It's crazy to see how kids are hungry for comics. They're just not versed in like the monthlies market in the way that we think about comics now. So thinking about different ways to engage those younger audiences, because those are huge audiences, is very very exciting. And we do have some really cool younger characters that I think have a lot of appeal there. Not just alternate universe, though that is also really fun. I love Valiant High so much. But we've also, I think we have developed a stable of characters in that age range who are really exciting in their own right.
Yeah. I want to see an Animalia book. That would be another great idea.
My favorite child.
That would be great. I'd much rather be reading that to the kids than Dogman or something. Captain Underpants. Not that those are good to their own, but I want to relate to my Valiant. So,
Yeah.
You just got to have Valiant in different mediums, different formats, so it's all Valiant, and you can stay Valiant all the time.
Heck yeah. Oh, someone was talking about the cat covers. Yeah. Oh, more cat covers. I would always be down for more cat covers. I will say, like, one thing that's been really fun is some of the I have to give Heather a lot of credit here because the books that she's been working on, she's done these cover series that are sort of like really really themed, and there are more coming. Savage has some really cool themed covers, like the ones she did for Livewire that were magazine covers.
Yes,
those are awesome.
Yes,
those were gorgeous.
I love those.
The book covers a Shadow Man.
Yes, and the horror variants. Yeah, so like that is something I think Heather really enjoys putting those together, and the artists have a lot of fun with them too, and as does our head of production Travis, who designs the text and everything and makes it look like the thing it's supposed to look like. So those are really fun collaborative projects that we definitely have gotten attention from new people for. So yeah, more stuff like that definitely is on its way. I love the Shadow Man one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of horror movie watching over the quarantine, so I've been living in that space.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You have to. That's it.
I'm about ready to start rewatching all the Saw movies myself. So
Oh, see, yeah, I can't follow, but I cannot follow you down that path. I am sorry, my friend. It's true.
Really?
It's the pure gore. Like I think my like I can't separate it from reality. So I think of all these people, and I'm like, oh no, their poor jaws. I
yeah,
can't
I
look
can
at
watch
it anymore.
Rejects every day. It's an everyday thing.
Oh.
Devil's Rejects.
Oh.
Love it.
that's a brutal movie.
Enjoy that.
So
See, I can get to
Oh,
like I
man.
can get to like Hellraiser levels of gore, and I can get to like some zombie stuff. Like that's as far as I go. I'm sorry, this is not Valiant related.
It doesn't matter. We're all having a good time. Now I want to watch Hellraiser movies.
I mean, always, every day, yes.
Yeah.
I'm rediscovering my love for Clive Barker that I've had for a very long time. I used to read his YA novel, speaking of, when I was a kid.
And Sean Hayes on the chat has ongoings is hard to figure out these days. Is there an initiative to get more ongoings going? I mean, I think right
Absolutely.
now we have EXO, Rai, Bloodshot, and then Shadow Man. Was that set to be an ongoing as well? Do you know? Yeah,
I believe so, yeah. Unless I'm heavily mistaken, which, is often.
Okay.
Just as a person, like in general. Yeah, I think something that we think a lot about is because there are so many different kinds of customers and there's so many different kinds of stores, that one of the most important things for us to do, especially when we're designing our publishing plans, because we design them like a year out, and things change, obviously, and we have to adjust even without a global pandemic, but we still have to adjust things, if an artist has an issue or there's a problem with the book or things have to move for whatever reason. So, but
Whoa, what happened?
Oh no!
You put me backstage?
Oops.
You cut me. I'm not telling you anything. We're done here. No. I think the big theme that we talk about a lot is like, okay, let's make sure we have a healthy mix, like a balance. Yeah. So it's okay. We have a horror book this month, so we need something on the lighter side. We have an ongoing this month. We definitely want a mini series too. There's a big #1 this month, so let's have some smaller issues to offset that and make sure that the stores feel like they can handle the Valiant load that we're giving them per week or per month. Like we have to think about it like per week, honestly, especially because stores are, a lot of comic book stores operate on very, very thin margins because they're small local businesses. So there's also a thing with even just making sure that they don't feel like they're shelling out too much money on any particular week for any particular comic because they are very limited in like the risks that they can take. This is getting really into the weeds of comic book retail, but yeah, there's a lot of considerations there because they are absolutely like the center of how we get comics to people.
Right.
Is our relationship with those individual stores. And I know some people don't have that in their town, which is super unfortunate. But I know a lot of people, like, the only reason they read Valiant now and the reason they're dedicated now is because their shop owner put it into their hands.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the reason that I read Valiant is because what really got me into the books was when my local shop had the Valiant #4 had just come out, and they put all 4 of them out together and said, you can get the whole thing right now. And I picked up the whole thing of the Valiant, went home and read it and was like, okay, this is now, that was it.
That, I swear, if we could just get that book into every comic reader's hands, like
done.
We're done.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that book. I will never stop recommending that book to people.
I totally recommend that as a great jumping on point for people.
Yeah.
Technically, the first Valiant comic I read was Exo Manowar in 2012, which is another great place to start because that's where the universe began. Yeah. But I think if somebody really wants to get to know so many of the characters, the Valiant is such a great place to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's always fun to go to cons because I end up selling #1s. Like that's what I do all day, and figuring out like which book gets someone to come back the next day or the next year. Sure. Is really, really interesting. Like Faith gets people to come back, the Valiant gets people to come back, definitely. Like there's a bunch, but those two specifically I think speak speak to individual audiences really, really strongly and make people want to come back and read more.
Yeah, and I mean, you want to know what happens next, and that's such a great thing. Like, you really want to leave people wanting more. You want to give them something with substance, but that ends in a place where I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
That's what every good comic should do.
Yeah, for sure.
So if my favorite movie was The Goonies,
okay,
what do you give somebody?
We're doing the thing. We're doing my game. Yay. Sorry. This was my favorite game to play when I worked at a comic shop. Like, tell me your favorite TV show or movie and I'll tell you what comics to read.
So The Goonies.
The Goonies. Okay. Archer and Armstrong, the Michelangelo Code.
And which one?
The Michelangelo Code.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because it's all treasure hunting and puzzle solving and wackiness.
Comedy. It's got it all.
Comedy. Yep. Plucky kids.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my go-to for that. Yeah.
Forrest Gump.
What? I'm sorry. And this is now like a stump Emily with recommendations game. Hold on, give me a second. I'll do it.
Lightning round.
There you go. Okay, Forrest Gump. Okay, sweet innocent protagonist who lives for a very long time.
Goes to war.
Eternal Warrior.
Yeah.
Like awakening, but like awakening.
He goes through all these experiences in his life, and it keeps happening, right? What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Okay, I've never actually seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape. So,
just list every movie that's ever been made.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Okay, grapes, food. Armstrong and the Vault of Spirits. This has nothing to do with What's Eating Gilbert Grape, but grapes are wine.
Right.
That's it.
Hey, and that was a good book anyway.
Yeah. I'm the guest. You have to. You have to.
And
then
one more. In Seattle. Sleepless in Seattle.
Ooh.
I got mine in my head.
Okay. Well, it's funny. I don't want to go back to the Archer and Armstrong but one of my first thoughts would be like the Faith and Archer cutesiness, or like I guess then like I think it'd be, if you're looking for like sweet romantic comedy stuff, I love the issues with Archer and Faith at the con.
Yeah, those are good.
What were you gonna say though?
I was gonna say Dr. Mirage, because it is that love story.
Oh, that like lost love. Yes.
Right. It's just, you like love stories, I guess. I take it. So that's kind of where I would kind of touch base on that. So
I'm into it. Yeah.
They're always fun, right? So that's a fun game. I remember you doing that, and
I will always do that. That's a very good game.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm just gonna have to stop. Oh, who said Big Trouble in Little China? I don't know.
Ooh.
I've also never seen that movie.
Dude,
that's never seen Big Trouble in Little China?
Listen.
Homework.
I'm busy.
Yeah, you have homework there.
No, that's a great movie. Big Trouble in Little China. Now I'm trying to think. I have no idea. Where would you even go?
So comedy and, going around and doing all kinds of crazy stuff that you almost want to say Archer and Armstrong again. And that's been one of my
Russell, right? Is that Kurt Russell?
Yeah, it is.
So he's like, he's kind of like debonair, right? He's like a suave gentleman. So maybe some Ninjak.
Maybe some Ninjak. I would even say Bloodshot might be some good things, because there is some comedy in some of the Bloodshots.
Yeah.
You know what I actually just thought of?
Something.
I was gonna say Bloodshot USA because of the interactions between Ninjak and Bloodshot in that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
That's some of my favorite. This is something I've always said about Ninjak is I love his solo books, but he works so well when he shows up in other people's books, because one of the best things about him is how he interacts with the other characters, because he always has a way of, like, Bloodshot is such this, like, I love him. He's so serious and he's so deep and brooding and all this stuff. And then Ninjak is like, look, man, it's not all about you. All right. Like, you got to get your head out of your ass. Let's go. We got shit to do. And like, he does that he's able to, bring Auric down a couple notches. And yeah, he's so good when he shows up in other people's books.
Yeah.
I totally agree. One of my favorite Ninjak like through lines is how just done he is with magic. Like how much he just cannot deal with it. Like he knows that it's real, but he's like, I'm not here for your nonsense. I'm not here for these ghosts. Can you just get it done? And like these people who could rip him apart with their minds, he's just like, oh my God. And that's for someone who's like this very suave, sexy, mysterious spy, he has no patience.
Yeah.
No.
That was why the Kent run was so good, because the whole time it was him up against magical stuff, and he was just done with it the entire time. Like Operation Deadside, he's trying to like.
He's just like, I didn't sign up for this. This isn't what I. Like, I have gadgets. Why are you doing this to me? Making Ninjak sad and annoyed is always fun.
Yes, 100%. Putting him off of his guard.
Yeah.
But doing that with any character, oh man.
Well, I mean, and we definitely, you know, when we put out our big sort of feature and previews, like Ninjak is on that feature, you know, like there's a big picture of Ninjak.
I think people are going to be excited for what is leaked on the Valiant 2020 with what looks to be a purple ninja. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, like he's everywhere on our promotional stuff for the coming year. Like, he's not going anywhere. I mean, he's going, you know what I mean? He's going places, but like, you can read about it.
Yeah.
Yes. We need to read about it.
Yeah, I actually I'm excited for Shadow Man. I'm really excited. I'm excited for everything right now because we're gonna get comics back eventually. Because I want Rai again, and I want Harbinger back. I want Ninjak back. I want Archer and Armstrong back. It's going to be a happy day when we can see all of them and be reunited with our comic friends and our physical friends that we.
I really hope that, like, you know, I obviously there's much more important stuff going on, but something that I feel like I'm seeing in myself and in Valiant fans and in comics people in general is kind of how much this medium and these community means to all of us. And I hope that when we come back to some sense of normalcy, we all continue to value that in the same way and sort of see what it was like, remember what it was like when it wasn't here for us and when we didn't have that connection with each other in the same way. And I really hope that people at least remember how much comics as a medium deserve to be valued, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And
I think that's it.
I can't say enough how much I appreciate, you know, yourself and I know Greg's involved in it, and I'm sure the whole marketing team is. The Hero of the Week has just given us such an amazing way to continue to be active, to have things to talk about, to have a reason to still think about Valiant, because it would have been really easy. I mean, it would have been the easiest thing in the world to just say, well, there are no books, so we're going to put Valiant on the back burner for now, and we'll see you when the books are coming out again.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I could have slept in.
Right. 100%. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for that, because it has honestly it has helped make the best use possible of this time, because it has given me so many reasons, because we do this show, you know, and we want to talk about the Hero of the Week. It's given me so many reasons to go back, and I went back and slammed through a whole bunch of the Venditti Exo run just because Exo Manowar was the Hero of the Week. I've gone back and, like I said, I went back and reread some Imperium because of Toyo being the hero villain of the week, whatever you want to call him, and rediscovering just how much I like Sunlight on Snow and not remembering, or maybe not giving him enough credit the first time through. You know, we wouldn't have that without the Hero of the Week. So again, thank you.
I'm so glad it's helped you guys. It's helped you out during quarantine to engage with that. Like, that makes me really, really happy.
Yeah,
to hear that.
Absolutely.
Oh, bye.
Oh no. Apparently we lost Tushar.
Okay, now we're going to talk about him.
Yes.
But yeah, Emily, we want to thank you for jumping on and chatting with us. We made it happen finally, and it was great. We got to talk Valiant with you, and we do appreciate
always, anytime.
We appreciate you, and we like what you guys are doing, and we're excited to see you again in person one day at a con.
Soon we will talk about new things. It will be so
Yeah.
good. I can't wait. This dumb big smile I have on my face, like that's the whole vibe.
Yeah. Hey, we're excited for the things that we know about. I can't imagine how excited we're going to be about the things that we don't know about.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, I hope I can show you guys some stuff soon.
Awesome. We're hoping
Well,
so. Everybody out
thank
there,
you so much.
Everybody.
We're rolling
Yeah.
out. So that's Eric,
That's me. I'm Eric.
Emily, Hoosier.
Hoosier.
Bye.
Boom.
Bye.